morning, everybody. My name is Darlene and I have Parkinson's. Welcome to Make It Monday. Today, we're going to make a very simple recipe. We're going to make a banana loaf with chocolate chips. I'm going to hold the recipe up. I will put it in the description as well. But let's see if we can get a screenshot there. There you go. And I'm going to just put everything into a bowl and go from there. So this is a very simple, everything I do is very, very simple. So I'm going to put the butter. It's a half a cup of butter and a cup of sugar. So it's definitely not a diet recipe. And I'm just going to cream that together for just a moment. Hopefully it's not too loud. I'm not going to do it too long, just enough to start mixing it. We've been having a very nice week as far as weather goes, which is kind of nice, you know, to have that. Now you see, I'll bring this up and show you. It's not creamed by any means. It's just started to mix together. But then we'll put in our eggs and our banana. And that's where we're going to start getting some of the creaming to go on, okay? So let's start here. My bananas were very ripe. The riper they are, the sweeter they are. And when they're sweet, that's where you want it. So therefore, when your bananas, when you think that they're going bad, they're really not. They might not be desirable to just plain eat, but they're very sweet for cooking. All right, now I have to put in 2.5 cups of flour. So with my flour, I don't know if you can see, I just put a scoop and then I just run my finger along the top of it to make it level, okay? So this is a 1/2 cup, so I need 2.5 cups. So that's 1, 1.5, 2, and 2.5. Okay, now I've also got a damp cloth that was nice and clean, just to keep my hands clean. Not that they're very dirty, they just had a little bit of flour on them, but you know, you want to do the best. Now I've pre-measured out a cup. This is a huge mug, but this is a cup of milk, okay? You kind of want to add it as you need it. So you'll start this mixing and then add milk to it. Now once I've got it started to mix, then I want to put the last of I've got a pinch of salt. I've got 1/3 of a teaspoon of baking soda and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And the last of my milk. All right, now I'm just going to mix this so it's really mixed. You don't want to go overboard and, you know, do it too long, but you do want everything mixed together. All right, now I want to just scrape down the edges. All right, one last go. Now it will be thick, and that's fine. You want it thick. All right. So I'm just going to take that out of there and take this one out of there. Okay, now this last ingredient isn't on the recipe because it's optional. And you can put nuts, you can put whatever you want. My husband likes chocolate chips. So chocolate chips it is. So I'm just putting chocolate chips into the batter. All right, all mixed up. I've taken a loaf pan and I've lined it with parchment paper. This is very heavy for me. Okay, I'm now going to put that dough in there. Oh. I do make a mess. Okay, now before I put that into the oven, it's going to bake at 350 for 1 hour. And just before I put that in the oven, I'm going to tell a little story and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. This story was terrifying to me, terrifying. I've never forgotten it. I was driving to work one day. I'm trying to think. I only had one child at the time. So Claudine was probably 7 years old. And she's in her 40s now, so that's how many years ago it was. But anyway, I was driving myself to work. And when I got to North Vancouver, there was you hit a split in the road. And it went up the hill to go to where my work was. Or it took the lower road that didn't have to climb this steep hill. And that's the road that the trucks took to go around. Well, here was, in front of me, there was a giant, I called them big rigs or lorries. You know, all these long trailers and stuff. Well, there was a construction bit and there was the lower road was flooded. So there was a little construction guy with his stop and slow sign telling you where to go. So the truck in front of me wanted to go down the lower road. And he signaled that you couldn't go down the lower road. It was flooded. You had to go up the way. So I did not see him because this truck was so huge. So I assumed that truck was going to go down the lower road. So I sort of pulled up beside him to be going the upper road. And then he saw the person telling him to go back into the lane that went up the hill. But I was in his blind spot, so he didn't see me. And he started to change lanes. And I saw that he was changing lanes and he was going to hit me. And I was absolutely terrified. And what happened was his wheels had these great big lug nuts. And the side of my car had a metal and rubber strip that went down the middle. I don't know what the purpose of it was. Probably just to not bang your doors when you opened it. But anyway, his lug nuts had caught a hold of that piece of metal and had wound it up like a corkscrew on his tire. Well, as it did that, my car on that side of the driver's side left the road. And I only had the wheels on the passenger's side touching the road. And the rest of me was attached to his wheels. As he went forward, he dragged me forward. And he did not realize that I was there. Now, I was very lucky that the traffic person with the sign saw what was happening, because he jumped out in front of that truck and held up a stop sign. And that man had to stop very quickly, and he was not happy. And when he got out of his truck, he was sort of yelling at the sign man, "Hey, I had to get a run at that hill and blah, 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 blah." And the little sign guy said, "You have a woman in a car trapped on the other side of your vehicle." And he went around, and there I was, terrified, I had seen these poles coming up, like telephone poles coming up on the side of the road, and me being veered towards it. It was terrifying. And so he got out and he said, please, I don't want to have to put it through insurance. He says, but, you know, we'll pay, the company will pay for your car. And I said to him, well, I have to get to work anyway. So I says, if your company is legitimately going to pay for my car, I said, I'll give you my work number. You'll make arrangements before 5 o'clock. And I said, if you haven't made arrangements by 5 o'clock, I said, I will then contact the insurance people and report it. And sure enough, they phoned me and they covered the repairs of the car, but it was still very terrifying for me. So I see a big rig on the road and I go, oh no, it's Aero Transport. Anyways. Okay, I'm going to put you on pause. I'm going to put this in the oven. I'll be back in an hour, but it'll be a blink of the eye for you. Okay. Like a blink of an eye, right? There we, whoops, very hot. There we go. That's the loaf. I'm not going to slice it just now. I'm not sure that we're actually even going to keep it. I may be giving it away. So we'll decide what we're going to do with it later. But I hope everybody has a great Make It Monday. And we'll talk to you all tomorrow.